So guys, yesterday President Ruto made a very bold decision to fire all the 21 cabinet secretaries except his deputy Rigathi Gachagua and the prime cabinet secretary Musalia Mudavadi. These are the three reasons why President Ruto had to fire all the cabinet, the entire cabinet had to be fired. And I'm going to explain in details why the 21 cabinet secretaries were fired. And this one should be a lesson to Kenyans. So the first reason why William Ruto fired the cabinet secretaries is corruption. Corruption is a very big problem in our country. Corruption starts happening at the ministry level. The reason why we are seeing a trend where the budget has increased to amounts that are no longer sustainable to Kenyans is because corruption is budgeted. And this one is an issue that has already been raised by Senator Okiya Omtata. In one of his speeches or presentations, he talked about the way corruption is budgeted in Kenya. So this year, these guys had already budgeted corruption. They had allocated massive resources under their ministries. And this is how corruption happens in Kenya. Another way through which corruption happens in Kenya is through procurement. Procurement in Kenya, although there are laws that are supposed to govern the way public procurement is done, these people have a way of evading or avoiding to follow the laws or regulations about procurement. And this is why corruption continues to happen. Corruption has happened in massive scales in the current government. Another way through which corruption has happened, I will give an example under the Ministry of Agriculture. We saw recently whereby somebody decided to package stones and called them fertilizer. So many people bought fake fertilizer and the results were disastrous. We've seen videos or images of maize that has performed poorly because of this corruption that happened under the watch of CS Mithika Linturi. And when he was held to account for his actions, we saw corruption happen under the Senate. And I will show you the example from reliable sources. So if you go online and look at an article under the African Report, the article is dated on 16th May 2024. An opposition lawmaker made allegations about parliamentary committee taking bribes to save Minister Mithika Linturi over the fertilizer scandal. You can see the figures. Protecting Linturi. The opposition lawmaker Catherine Omanyo, who was also in the committee, said that she was offered up to Kenya shillings 3 million, which is an equivalent of $22,000, to write a favorable report against Linturi, but says she did not accept the offer. Now, this one demonstrates or illustrates how corruption happens within ministries. People steal, these state officers, they steal, and they even go ahead to bribe when they are held to account for their action. So that's the first reason why the whole of the entire cabinet had to be sent home. Reason number two, why President Ruto had to sack all the 21 cabinet secretaries. Arrogance. Arrogance is one of the things that we've noted amongst the state officers. Arrogance has been observed under the Ministry of Roads and Transport. Arrogance has been seen under the Ministry of Health, under the leadership of Susan Nakhumicha. We saw recently, despite the protesters in Kenya calling for an end to arrogance, we saw one of the cabinet secretaries, Kipchumba Murkomen. He came out on Obina's show and he told the whole world how he's wearing a watch that is worth 900,000 Kenyan shillings. I think this sounded like a mockery to the Kenyan population who are suffering. So many Kenyans are poor. Millions of Kenyans are poor. Yet a state official can confidently walk on television or YouTube and tell the world that he's wearing a watch of 900K. And this is one of the things that sparked outrage amongst the Kenyans. And this incident shows how government officials were arrogant. In another example, we saw Susan Nakhumicha, ordering the transfer of one of the OCAs in Matisi. I don't know why it is, Matisi constituency or something like that. This lady was ordering the OCAs to be transferred because he claimed that she's in power and she is representing the president. To the local people or to the state, to the junior officers who are feeling this kind of harassment, this was arrogance. So arrogance is another problem or another issue that has made President Ruto to sack all these cabinet secretaries. Number three, I hope you are following. Number three, the third and final reason why President Ruto fired cabinet secretaries is the problem of incompetence. Incompetence is whereby people who are not qualified who are given state officials. These people don't even know what they're supposed to do. They don't even understand their work. All they do is to go to offices, drink tea, read newspapers, and go home. When these cabinet secretaries were being vetted by Parliament, I think Honorable John Mbadi claims that, or made a statement in Parliament saying that 60% of these cabinet secretaries were incompetent. Some of them were facing corruption allegations. Some of them were facing integrity issues. But President Ruto still went ahead and appointed all of them. He called them a skunk. Let Ruto take his skunk. And that's how these cabinet secretaries were given the green light to be appointed as cabinet secretaries despite their incompetence. So this incompetence has been seen in their performance. A case in point we can see under the Ministry of Agriculture, where fake fertilizer was sold. Another incompetence was seen under the Ministry of Transport and Roads. There is a time when the NCCK appealed to send a petition to President Ruto to fire Cabinet Secretary of Roads Kipchumba Murkomen because of incompetence. Incompetence has also been seen under the Ministry of Health, whereby we witnessed one of the longest crises where the healthcare workers, the doctors, went on strike. And Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumicha did not understand the needs of the doctors. And this led to a lot of suffering. So many patients suffered. So many patients died because of lack of access to healthcare services. And this was all done because the Cabinet Secretary did not understand the needs of these particular important people. There is a motion that was proposed by Honorable Babu Owino to impeach Susan Nakumicha. But this motion did not go through because of the obstacles we've seen in the current parliament. So these are the three main reasons that President Ruto had to fire the cabinet and the entire cabinet. So what next after firing the cabinet secretary? What do you think will happen? What can you predict will happen after firing of the cabinet secretaries? President Ruto claimed that, or stated that, the ministries will be run under the principal secretaries. So all the functions of government will continue working under the watch of the principal secretaries. But he also hinted out that he is considering a broad-based government. He's going to constitute a broad-based government. Does it mean that he's going to form a government of national unity like his predecessor, Mwai Kibaki, did? Are we going to see another government of national unity? And how else are we going to ensure that corruption is now a thing of the past in this country? How are we going to keep the new cabinet secretaries into check now that we have the opposition is dead in Kenya? The opposition is dead in Kenya. Who is going to put these new cabinet secretaries to check now that we have a dead opposition in Kenya? So you can let me know that in the comment sections. You can like, you can share this video with your friends. Let us educate each other and continue participating in matters of governance. We want better governance. If you want a better life, you should participate in activism against bad governance, activism against corruption in Kenya. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.